are leaving No Name Harbor, Key Biscayne. We are on our way finally to the Bahamas.
Yep. After how many months?
2 years.
2 years. Well, yeah, we were there 2 years ago. Yep, 2 years. Now we're back to Bahamas and then south. Hopefully everything works out. Here's to making it to the Bahamas.
We made it, and it's actually on the cool side.
It is on the cool side. Right out there is Bimini. We just anchored kind of past it, off from the magenta line.
Off of, okay.
Yeah, so that boats don't get us, and then we'll put some lights on so they see us. About 18 feet of water. And we'll just spend the night and then head over
To the next place.
To the next place.
We didn't check in at Bimini, even though it's an easy place to check in. We decided we'll check in at the next, we're not sure where. We'll just keep sailing till we check in at the place we choose to.
There you go. So cheers again.
Cheers, we're in the Bahamas.
You got a drink too.
Yeah. We have a beautiful sunset and quiet. It is so quiet. The only noise we hear are boat noises and people noises. Our people, me. Look at that. Middle of nowhere.
So we just left an anchorage that was on the eastern side of, well, it's past Bimini, which you got on the video. And we are now motor sailing. And the reason is we need to get to Chub before sundown. But we're not really, we're only going 1200 RPM, so it's not much. It's just enough to boost us out of the 4 knot range up to the 5.5 or so. So we're not using much fuel.
So yesterday we came through from the Bimini area to Chub, and as we get closer, the waves picked up, the wind picked up, and it was pretty rough sailing, motoring into the waves and wind. We got here, we anchored, and it's the best spot we could find for now. It's a bit rocky and rolly all night long, but we were so tired we slept through it all. So it is beautiful. You can see all the salt spray we got from, you know, just doing some nose dives in the waves. Over here it doesn't look bad, but it actually isn't all that protected. But it's the best we could do.
Hi, here I am down in the engine room. and we've been having a little problem with one of the DC to DC chargers. I have two of them, Victron Orions 12-18s, and isolated, and one goes from the start battery to the house battery and charges the house battery when I have Perkins going. Perkins has an 80 amp alternator, and the other one goes from the house back to the Perkins. So when Perkins isn't running, and if I need to charge the either start batteries, I can do it in that direction. And of course you turn one off or the other or both. And the problem I'm having is with the Perkins start battery to the house, it kept opening the breaker on it, and so I wasn't able to charge the battery while we were motor sailing. So I did some troubleshooting. The first thing I did was look to see if, so here's the setup. There's the house battery up there to the start Perkins down in there. There's the Perkins down in there to the house. And this breaker kept breaking. And so first thing I did is I looked up under here to see if there's any little wires crossing each other, and there wasn't. I looked up the specs on them, and the 30 amps should be okay, but maybe not. I'm using the largest wire you can in these. So that might be it, is I'm just drawing a little too much amperage. The breakers are on the input on these. So what I was going to do, I had a spare breaker, but the only one I had was 200 amp. And so I was going to, it was 200 amp. So what I discovered was on everything else, this is the 30 amp, on everything else I have 40 amp. And those ones don't break open. So it looks like on my system it wants 40 amps. And the wires don't get hot or anything. So I was going to put my 200 amp spare into the the charger that goes from the house to the Perkins, because I don't use that very much. It's just an emergency if I have to boost the either start battery. And then put that 40 amp on the Perkins battery that goes to the house battery. Hope you haven't gotten too confused yet. We use that all the time. Whenever the motor's on, I try to charge the house batteries up with it. And then as I'm looking at the wall, I remembered I have another MPPT, a third one. I have 1, 2. Those are for the two 400 watt panels. And then this one I put in for a 150 watt flex panel that we have, but I've never put it on. And there it is. There's a 40 amp on it. And since I don't use that, I'm going to switch the 40 and 30 right there to the house. So that was a good one. Get to switch. Right down here is a towel. So I found that this boat likes to swallow everything. Nuts, bolts, screws, tools. So I put a towel down to see if I can slow that process down. If you think you're going to stop it, you're fooling yourself. And I can't always seem to get stuff. Oh, a lot of the stuff is, all of the hardware is stainless, so I can't use a magnet to get it. It goes under Miss Perkins here, and left Chub. That's right, only one ring. Was not a good anchorage. First of all, we didn't sign in because every time you take your dinghy, every day you take your dinghy in, they charge you $100 for a landing fee. And then it's been a rocky, rolly night. There was no way to get out of the waves coming in. So we did face them for a while, let us get to sleep, and then somewhere in the early morning we changed direction. You know, I'm not sure if it's a current or what, but we were just sideways to them again and rocking and rolling. 2 days of that. So we're gonna head out to west side of the island that Nassau's on, and we're at about 15 knots wind, which isn't bad. We're still cutting pretty much into it, but the waves are what it is. It's about three foot waves with an occasional 5 foot and probably a 2-second period. So they're just choppy as can be, and we're motor sailing because we got to keep up at least as close to 5 knots as we can, so we get there in the daylight if that's possible. It didn't happen last time. This is another long leg, and we got out around 7 o'clock, I guess, so we'll have to see. A little later the wind's supposed to change again right from the west, and if that happens we should be able to switch to full sailing and keep our 5 to 6 knots. Alright, going between Chub and west end of New Providence Island, where Nassau is. The wind got into our favor, 15 to 20 knots from the southeast, and shut the iron jenny down, Miss Perkins, and we're doing anywhere from 6.5 to 7.2 knots. Good sailing. Alright, so we made it to the west end of New Providence Island. Nassau is better known. And we anchored. A little bit rocky in here, but not bad.
We're leaving the west end of New Providence, and it's got a smoky tinge. I guess they burn their garbage. So it's kind of a weird sunrise.
We left New Providence Island, west end anchorage, around 7 this morning, and we're heading for Highborn. Right now we have following seas, and then we're going to turn into a broad reach eventually. Kind of motor sailing so we can keep her up around 5.5 knots again, so we can get there in the light. Don't really like the motor sailing, but we also really don't like anchoring at night. Although some of these places we've been to, we might start doing that. After this leg, most of them are short, so anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, so we won't have to leave as early. And maybe, we're supposed to have an east wind going down the Exumas, which is going to be excellent because we'll be on the leeward side of the island, but we'll be getting a good wind there. right to a broad reach. So should be some good sailing.
Fair winds. Following seas. Heading into Shroud. This is Shroud Cay. Look how blue the water is. There were other big yachts. They left.
Trout is kind of a bittersweet anchorage. Yesterday it was gorgeous. It was calm. The water's great. I went in. It's a little chilly, kind of like the lake in the summer. And the bottom of the boat's doing good. So I just have a little beard on it. I need to just scrape off. Probably do that at Staniel. But we'll give this one a 2 because we had a rocky, rolly night.
We want to say thank you to all of our viewers who have subscribed and commented. We appreciate your support and feedback. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. This really helps us build our channel up so we can keep bringing you more videos.